Hello, it's back to school and it's time for us to start a new unit. I forgot to record this with the class, so they're quietly working on a screener right now, which I'm going to explain to you. We are first working with some review work from grade 3 before we get into some grade 4 work, which is why the numbers may not seem to jive real well and they will change. But for the beginning of our unit, we're doing grade 3 work. But today we start out by doing a screener. So this is the screener that you'll be starting on. It has two sides. Make certain you put your name at the top. And then our first task, it says, I can identify fractional shapes or fractional parts of a shape. Here's our shape and what you need to do. It says, Annika split this circle into 3 parts. She said that each part is a third. Do you agree or disagree with Annika? Explain. That means write yes or no if you agree with her, and why you agree or disagree. Next, I can identify fractions on a number line. Here's our number line. It says label each of the marks on the number line. Notice it starts at 0 and ends at 1. So each of these is a fraction, and you need to write the fraction underneath. Think of it like a ruler. Task 3, I can compare unit fractions. It says Daniel's mom said that he can have either 1/4 or 1/8 of a candy bar that he got from the store. Daniel says he wants 1/8 of the candy bar instead of 1/4 because 8 is more than 4. Do you think that he made the right choice? Yes or no? Use numbers and labeled sketches to explain your answer. So you write yes or no and then explain why. On the back side, it says that I can compare unit fractions with like numerators or denominators. It says you have to fill these blanks with either a less than, a greater than, or an equal to make each of these statements true. Okay, I'm going to pause you and then we'll come back with some other work. Okay, and we are back. We just did a screener that is actually for 4th graders to let the teachers know what you know. And now we're stepping back a year, going back to 3rd grade when you had fractions in Unit 4. So, as I explained earlier, the most difficult part about understanding fractions are the words that we use. So let's do some defining. Everybody should have a notebook out. Turn your bodies if you have to. Some of you have to turn. You're going to write fraction words, and then you're going to write today's date. And remember to write 21 instead of 20. We are in a new year. The first word we're working with is called fair share. So as you are getting this word written down, I want you to think about, when was the last time that you shared something with someone? Now, these are all rhetorical questions. What I mean by that is that you're thinking about it, but you're not going to answer out loud. So think about it. What were you sharing? And who's still talking? Shh. So I asked you, what were you sharing? And when you were sharing, was it fair? Did you get the same amount? So what does it really mean for a fair share? What do you think that means? Raise your hand if you have an idea. Luke. Okay, so Luke says each person gets an equal amount of something. Okay, anything else? Jacob?
If it's like something to like play with or something, one person's gonna get like 10 minutes with it, and then the other person's gonna get 10 minutes.
Okay, so again, you're getting to have it for the same amount of time. You guys okay over there in that table? Okay, so fair share means we are dividing an object into equal pieces. It can also mean that we're dividing time into equal pieces. So think about an object. We can think of it as time. Time's being divided into equal pieces. But we need to remember something else, and I'm going to write this in another color, and I am going to star it. This is important. Because if you're going to compare fractions, the fractions you're comparing need to be in the same, or need to be the same whole unit. So I'm going to write that down. To compare fractions, or in other words, if you're going to divide the fractions, the whole unit. Do I need to take, I hear pieces falling on the floor. I can have them put away if I need to. Okay. Okay, get them zipped shut so it doesn't have a problem then. Okay, so I notice I put this in capital letters even. The whole unit must be the same. So whatever you're doing, it's got to be the same. Now, Jacob talked about time. And if you're dividing up time, it has to be the same. So when you're talking about dividing things up, they have to be the same sizes. Fractions are talking about sizes of things. Another word we need to understand is something called congruent. Congruent. Does anybody know what congruent means? That was a word I always had problems with in school as well. Congruent. You see what I mean? If you don't understand the words, it's hard to understand fractions. Does that make sense? Okay, so yeah, we gotta do some of this before we can do some of the other things. So if it's congruent, it is the same size and the same shape. So if it's congruent, it is the same size and it is the same shape. Because sometimes we can have the same shapes of things, but one shape might be larger than another. Look at our calendar. We've got some congruent pieces going, or we don't have congruent pieces. They're the same shape, but they're not the same size. And then we have another word. That's a fraction word we talk about a lot. Equivalent. We see the word equal inside of there. So this one is a little confusing because like congruent, we sometimes get those mixed up. So now we have the object is the same but the objects can look different. Now we're going to draw some pictures. For example, I want you to think about number corner today. If we think about a quarter, how much does a quarter equal? That's a Q. How much does a quarter equal, Reese?
25 cents.
Okay, so if I gave you a quarter, you'd have 25 cents, right? What if I gave you this? 2 dimes and a nickel. Do you have 25 cents? Okay. So a quarter is 1/4 of a dollar, correct? Are 2 nickels and a dime 1/4 of a dollar? So that's what we mean with equivalent. Because those don't look at all alike, right? These things don't look at all alike. When I draw this one, this sometimes causes problems. So I want you, as we draw this next picture, to try to make it as even as you can. I'm going down 2 lines. I'm going over a little ways. I'm going down 2 lines again, trying to make a square. I'm going to divide this one in half. And I'm going to shade this side in. So how much do I have shaded in? Raise your hand. Reese, 1/2. Okay. I'm going to put an equal sign between these. And now I'm going to try to draw a square about the same exact size, which is why I wanted to go down 2 lines. Okay, so this is 1/2 yet, right? I'll give you a chance to draw things. Now look at the board. Is this 1/2 again? Well, look what I'm going to do. How many parts do I have it divided into now? Yes. Now it's 2/4. They are equivalent. 1/2 and 2/4 take the same amount of space. Do you see that? When we're talking about equivalent, and this is a very, 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 very important part of 4th grade fractions. The first thing to understand about 4th grade fractions is to understand the word equivalent. Equivalent means that it is the same, but it can look different. Does this square look different than this square? Okay, Trevor's shaking his head, yes, so you couldn't hear him shaking his head. Okay, so Trevor, I'm going to ask you another question. After I drew the green on this side and I drew the green on this side, did I change any green on the 2/4 side? Did I add any more green once it was drawn? I did not. All I did was add an orange line to make it look different. I know that this is not an exciting lesson for Monday morning coming back from our winter break, but this is the most important word for you to understand this whole unit. The word equivalent. We can talk about it like money because we all decided a quarter is 25 cents, and so are 2 dimes and a nickel. They're going to buy you the same amount of stuff, unless it's a gumball machine that only takes quarters. Then you're going to have to trade your money in for a quarter. But still, it's 25 cents. It's 1/4 of a dollar. Here we're showing 1/2. We have 2 different pictures, but I did not change the green at all. Now, going with this, I want to talk about one more word, and that is unit fraction. This was the most important 3rd grade word you needed to learn. And since we are starting with our 3rd grade fractions unit, we're going to really focus on this word. Did you see the unit fractions word in our screener test?
Yes.
Yeah. Unit fractions are very important because if we don't understand this, we can't understand this one. We have to understand this before we can understand equivalent. So remember, 4th grade, the most important fraction word you learn is equivalent. In 3rd grade, the most important fraction word you learn is unit fraction. So I keep saying a unit fraction. What's a unit fraction? Reese? Oh, Reese doesn't know. I thought maybe she did. David, do you know? Nope, he doesn't know. Luke? No, nobody knows. Okay, that's why we got to talk about these. Okay, so first of all, it is a fraction, right? So write that down. It's a fraction with the numerator. Have you ever heard of that word before? Give me a thumbs up if you've heard that word before. Oh, goodness. Almost everybody has a thumbs up. Okay, so the numerator, is that the top part of a fraction or the bottom part of the fraction? Raise your hand if you've got an idea. Oh, goodness. This is going to be a long unit. Oh, Reese is going to try. Is it the top or the bottom? You have a 50-50 chance. Try the other spot. Thank you, Reese. Reese knows it's the top now. I bet you Reese is going to remember it too. Okay, so it is the numerator. That's the number on the top. It's a numerator of 1. In other words, it is 1 part of the whole number. And we're going to need to give some examples. So, anybody going to take a guess at what a unit fraction might be? Because we have one on our page. One of these two is a unit fraction. Which one do you think it is? David?
2/4.
Good try. I'm going to circle this number right here. David, which one is it? 1/2. It is 1/2. Who can give me another unit fraction? Grace?
1/4.
1/4. Who can give me another unit fraction? David?
1/5.
1/5. Let's go 2 more unit fractions. Will?
1/16.
1/16. And the last one, Reese has her hand up.
1/6.
Okay, 1/6. All of those are unit fractions. Why? Read the definition, then you might know. Why can we tell they're unit fractions? David?
So they start with 1.
Because the numerator is a 1. It is 1 part of the whole number. One of the parts. Does anybody know what the denominator tells us? The bottom number? The bottom part of the fraction? Brooklyn?
There is.
How many parts there are in the whole unit? Yep. Which is why we need to know if they're equivalent, and they need to be the same size and shape, and we're going to be dividing them into equal pieces, which is why we have to know all of this. Okay, so this is a lot to handle it in one sitting. There are many more words to work on, but we're going to work on these 1, 2, 3, 4 first. We're going to practice this, the unit fraction. Remember, I said that this was important from 3rd grade. So when you have a fraction, it represents an individual's portion, or it's the part that you have in fair sharing. Fractions also can measure distance. What I asked you to do is check to see if you had all of your little pieces of paper like this. Correct? So you got all these little papers, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to do some demonstrating here. I'm going to use orange paper that's a little bit bigger because I'm going to be putting this up on the board. But I want you to make certain that we fold our papers in a certain way. So everybody needs one paper. Those of you who aren't finished with copying this, I'll put this up again at the end so you can copy more. So everybody has one piece of paper. Okay. I want you to fold your paper in half. Doesn't matter which way. Fold your paper in half. Fold your paper in half. Okay, I saw lots of people fold their papers in half. Okay. There. Did you fold it in half?
Yeah.
Does your paper look like my paper? Whose paper looks like my paper? Oh, Millie and I did it. Does that mean that you guys don't have yours folded in half?
Wait, I do. Is it half up?
Oh my goodness, we're getting discussions. Okay. Mine's folded like this.
This is not folded exactly like yours.
Wait. Okay, Kiona just said she folded hers in half, but hers doesn't look like mine. Well, yeah, her paper is smaller than mine.
No.
No?
Folded, yeah.
Okay.
You folded it a different
But see, Millie and I did it right, didn't we?
Yeah.
Now Millie's changing her mind too. Oh my goodness. Okay, Kiona, keep talking to me.
This is what you guys did. This is what she did. You can fold paper different ways.
Okay, Kiona just told me I have to fold it in half, so now I'm right and Millie's wrong.
There's no right way of.
Oh, now Kiona said, two people at home, I hope you can hear this. Kiona tells me now it can be either way. How can it be either way? How can it be either way? What word did you just learn? It is equivalent.
No.
This word right here. You just learned it. Besides doing it like this, this is half, just like this is half.
But they're still the same thing.
They are still the same thing. I'm going to quickly draw a line so that you can see this. Although it'd be nice to have my glasses on, but then my glasses fog up.
The little off the side.
Okay, so we need to talk about it. Now, these are equivalent. I just stole Trevor's paper and Akaya's paper. These two are congruent. How come are these two congruent? Millie, I'd like your paper. I want you to look at this. These two are congruent. These two are equivalent. What's the difference? Luke.
Same size and same shape.
Same size, same shape. They all started out with rectangles like this. These two just happen to be folded exactly the same way. So that way we are making everything into one half. So if you folded these and it says 1/2, what kind of a fraction is that? It's got a 1 in it. What's that new word you use? Learn. Look at your papers. What is that new word you learned? It's got a 1 in the numerator. Oh, I know more of you know it. You're just not raising your hands. Okay, Will, what is this? Somebody's telling me that. Thank you, Tucker. It is a unit fraction. Okay, so looking at this, we talked about the unit fractions. It's numerator, the top portion. Now, I have to tell you this.
What?
Everybody, teachers, adults, people in general, keep calling these two numbers, the 1 and the 2. It's not two numbers. It only has one place on a number line. It is a one number representing a space. And we keep talking like it has two numbers, and it really doesn't. We have a numerator and a denominator that make up the number. Just like you have tens and ones in the number 15. So we have to get used to putting these together as one number. Okay, I got off of that. So as we're looking at this, we're looking at things that can be congruent or they can be equivalent. These are congruent because this size doesn't look exactly, this half doesn't look exactly the same as this half. Yet my papers are the same size. That's how we know they're equivalent. Okay, I have another, I just took a picture. I have another paper we're going to work on, and once you know, I put it in a really safe place. So where did I put it?
That's going to be the best picture.
Oh, good. Glad you think so. You're going to get a paper that looks like this. Stop a moment and listen. We were just talking about fractions. And I want you to look at this, and you're going to look at this with me.
No.
Somebody just told you not. Okay, so here it says identifying fractions. This shouldn't take you more than 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so it says determine whether the model, they're talking about these things, all of those, that's what they mean. The model represents a fraction made of equal sized parts. Right now we're talking about equal sized parts. If you circle yes, name the fraction by its number of shaded parts. See the example? See this one? I don't know if you can see that real well. I'm going to extend the lines a little bit so you can see its lines. So you can see that these are all equal parts, correct? And 1, 2, 3, 4 of the parts are shaded. See how it says 4? I'll zoom in on that. And if I counted all of them, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's our denominator. When I look at this part is shaded. This part equals that part, but are these the same parts? Same size? So we're not writing a fraction. Not that it can't be a fraction if we added more lines, but we can't make it a fraction right now according to our directions. So if you would circle no in the fraction box, then you leave it blank. So we're going to do number 1 together. Okay, so are the parts equal, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Now it says name the fraction. Here it says we have to have the parts that are shaded. That's above the fraction bar. 1, 2, 3 of them are shaded. And now it says how many are there in the whole picture? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do number 5 together. Looking at this. Are the parts equal?
No.
No. Do we do anything else?
No.
Okay. Do you understand what you have to do?
Yes.
Like I said, this is only going to take you about 3 minutes. Put your name on the top, complete this, and hand it in. I want to see how well you were paying attention. Okay, so people at home, if you don't have this, this will be attached to the lesson so that you can download it. Otherwise, you can look at this, label a paper 1 through 8, write yes and the fraction, or write no and leave a blank. Do your best guess. This helps me know what you know and what you need to practice. Okay, for those of you who are almost finished, please quickly go. Get your things finished, hand them in.
I gave you a ruler. Right, Trevor? I gave you a ruler.
Okay, please turn your paper in with your name on it. With your name on it. Turn your papers in.
Here, I got this.
Put your rulers down. I will tell you when you need them. Is everybody's papers handed in? Please hand your papers in. Okay, tomorrow we'll go through this together. I have to give the people at home a chance to get this done first. Okay, if you have not already marked 1/2 on your paper that you folded, please do that. Mark 1/2. So whether yours looks like this or like this, you have 1/2 marked. Next, I want you to take another paper and I want you to fold it in 4ths. Fold it in 4ths. So think about that. You fold it in half. When you fold it in half, you have 2 pieces. Then if you fold it one more time, you now have 4 pieces. Okay? If you, look at that. I see somebody who folded their paper. This way. So you can have it folded like this or like this. Either way. And then write, what fraction do we write in one of the spots?
1/4.
Yes, ma'am.
1/4.
1/4. 1 fraction bar 4. 1/4. 1/4 of the object. 1 means we have written in one of the rectangles. 4 means the object has 4 parts. Please do not have the rulers off of the tables right now. Okay, so we did 1/2. We did 1/4. What do you think we're going to do next? We did 1/2. We did 1/4. Yes. Good try. 1/8. So we fold it in half. We fold it in half again. And we fold it in half again. Hey, think about that. Remember when we were learning our multiplication where we have double? Double, double is 4. Double, double, double is 8. Think about how many times we folded it in half.
We need to do fifths.
No,
8.
eighths. 1/8. I'm not going to use a ruler right now. I'm going to just mark this so you can see it. There's 1/8. So you have a 1/4, a 1/8, and a 1/2 currently. Somebody was saying that we need to do sixths. Well, let's do thirds first. But now, how would we divide that in thirds? I gave you a ruler. Hint, hint. I gave you a ruler. How would we divide that in thirds? What'd you think?
So take the paper, then take the ruler, draw a line, which side, draw a line.
Oh, okay. That would work really well if it was a circle.
Yeah.
That would work really well if that was a circle. What can I do with my ruler? David.
Can I do it on the board?
Okay. Okay, I'm going to tell you what David's telling me to do. Will this be easier if I put my ruler up?
Yeah.
Okay. My paper is bigger than your paper.
I know.
I can get one of your paper sizes out if you'd like me to.
No.
That way you know what you need to do.
No. My board is fine.
Okay, so if your paper is 6 inches long, how do we divide your paper into 3 parts? Okay, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How do I divide that into 3 parts? Yes.
You fold it on the black line, I got it across.
Okay, how do I know that's even?
Oh, you used the ruler.
You use the ruler. How do we use the ruler to divide 6 into 3 parts?
Take the ruler and then you just go.
Nope. What Jacob thought we were doing is we're going to fold it around the ruler like this. Okay, Luke, what do we do if the ruler is 6 inches long?
You draw a line up to 2.
Luke says I have to measure every 2 inches. Okay, there's 2 inches, there's 2 inches. I'm going to move this down to make certain I've got it straight. Here's 2 inches, there's 2 inches. Yeah, put your math away. How many parts do I have? How many parts is that? Raise your hand.
3.
Thank you, Akaya. Now, Akaya, can you put your hand in the air so I can call on you? Akaya,
3.
3. So what would my fraction be on this side?
No. No.
Do you know?
1/3.
1/3. Okay. Put these papers in your notebook. So you have a notebook. Oh, by the way, people at home, what we had were papers that were 4 inches by, oh, what's going on here? We had papers that were 4 inches by 6 inches. So if you wanted to cut your own papers.
Okay, so you're gonna put all of your papers inside of your notebook because we're gonna start right there tomorrow.
What about the other things?
Put all of your papers inside your notebook. Okay, and for those of you at home, we have finished, we're as far as we can get. And we need to go to lunch. So that's the end of this for us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.